Welcome to True North Perspective. My name is Sean. Welcome to the show, guys. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing Ghislaine Maxwell, Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, just recently released the transcripts and the audio for the interview that he conducted with Ghislaine Maxwell a few weeks back. It was on Thursday and Friday. I poured through some of the transcript, specifically to see what she had to say about Donald Trump. And I mean, without a surprise, I don't want to blow it for you for those that are going to watch it on C-SPAN tonight or are going to browse it a bit later. But she, declared, or she exonerated him technically, saying that, he had never gotten a massage from anyone in front of her, did nothing, inappropriate, which is kind of obvious. I mean, we're talking about a woman that all of a sudden, decided that she's going to, call, the Department of Justice and have them come and speak to her because she wanted to clear the air because of the media and so on and so forth. And, 2 days later, she's moved to a minimum security prison, which we call Club Fed. It's an open camp sort of thing where you can go out, go on work release. Now, before we get into the content, I should let you know, guys, that, to be moved from a maximum security prison to a minimum requires a waiver from the Bureau of Prisons, so somebody has to sign off on it. And till today, since the day she was moved, nobody knows. And Donald Trump and the Department of Justice, the FBI, has not released who signed off on that waiver. Now, the other thing I should also say that there is a point system. So if you're rated 27, which is fairly high risk, you won't be able to get out of a maximum security prison. There's no way, okay? You have to be 7 or under. So somebody has to have changed the score, meaning that somebody took the liberty to reduce her score from 27 to 7, so that way she can move to the minimum security prison. The other thing I should say is that her prison mates are now coming out, and saying that when she was in the maximum security prison, I believe it was in Tallahassee, that she did mention that she had a lot of dirt on Donald Trump, and, obviously she's using the wild card now. I mean, anybody that has half a brain can see that, she's playing the system. And really, to be frankly honest, even though they did interview Ghislaine Maxwell, how do you believe what a convicted, child abuser has to say? She's already been, charged with perjury. So, the chances that she's going to, speak the truth or say something truthful are very slim to none. The other thing I should also let you know that with the Department of Justice, you have the Deputy, or rather the Attorney General, which is Pam Bondi, okay, who clearly stated that she had the Epstein files back in February on her desk, and now she says the files don't exist. You also have Todd Blanche. Now, this is a complete conflict of interest, and I'm really surprised that nobody's even talking about this. Like, this is what baffles my mind, that everybody should be talking about this. The media should be focused on this and say, yeah, something is going on here, because Donald Trump, elected or chose Todd Blanche to be the Deputy Attorney General. Now, what you need to understand, guys, is that Todd Blanche was personal defense attorney. Okay, he's worked on many cases. So now you have somebody that is already familiar with Donald Trump, that is Donald Trump's personal attorney, okay, who is now assigned the job to go to Tallahassee and speak to Ghislaine Maxwell and get information from her. And the only reason they did that was to make sure that she was not going to say anything incriminating. And this is pretty much a setup for a pardon, right? She was moved immediately to a minimum security, low security prison. She's able to go out on work release. The worst part is that, being a child predator, she is next to a school. A lot of women that are in that prison have their families come to see them with children, and there she is, and they are not very happy either. So generally, there's a whole bunch of things going on, but in my opinion, I would say that this is definitely a cover-up. If you ask me, do I believe that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Absolutely, 100%. He's not clean. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, I was on hiatus and I did a lot of research on Jeffrey Epstein and the connections. And there's some dark secrets and dark connections, I should say, dark past of Jeffrey Epstein with Donald Trump. And in the future videos, I will disclose that to you. We're going to be talking about, obviously, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, Jean-Luc Brunel, Paolo Zampoli, and there's another fellow that I can't remember the name on the top of my head, but they were all involved with this. And it all comes down to basically a modeling agency. I also have some, depositions that we'll go over as well too, and some statements that have been made by the fixer or Cohen, who was also a lawyer for Donald Trump back in 2016. But without further ado, let's take a look at the transcripts and let's take a look at what's going on here. So this is the transcript itself here, okay? And I took the liberty to kind of just basically highlight where Trump was mentioned. And so we'll go back up here. Now, I should tell you that it's a lot of pages, it's 263 pages, so feel free to go to the website and read it, but I will give you an idea of what basically she said. And this is, I've never read something, I should say, something that, it looks like a setup to me, technically, I should say. I'm losing, basically I don't have a better word for this, but take a look here. And basically in the beginning, just before we get into it, Todd Blanche basically introduces everybody and asks everybody to state their name for the record. And that's what they do. And so basically here it is. And Todd Blanche asks, and you mentioned that early in the very beginning of the conversation, you mentioned President Trump in the early 1990s. Yes. And then it's redacted. What did you observe as far as President Trump and his relationship with you or Mr. Epstein? Well, I just wanted to say from my relationship with President Trump, relationship's a big word, but I just want to say that I met him where I believe I may have because of my father in the 1990s. Okay. So basically what she's saying, I'm not going to read the entire thing. It's, become a very long video, but basically what she's saying is that she traveled to New York and she basically met Donald Trump through her father, Robert Maxwell, and that is a completely different story. Apparently he was also involved in some type of fraud, and he died mysteriously on his boat. But let's continue on here. And she says, and this is, wow, all right, so here we go. This is what the perjurer and convicted child predator has to say about Donald Trump. Trump was always very cordial and very kind to me, really. And I just want to say that I find, redacted, I admire his extraordinary achievement in becoming the president now. Really, come on. And I like him, and I've always liked him. So that is the sum and substance of my entire relationship with him. That is a bunch of horseshit. That is shit with a capital B, okay? Let's keep going down here. Did you ever observe President Trump receive a massage? And so Ghislaine Maxwell says, never. And then Todd Blanche asks, did you ever observe? You said that you, did you ever observe? You said that you have seen, there's public photographs of Mr. Epstein and President Trump together. Yes. And there's photographs of, I think you're in some of the photographs. Yes. Okay. And then she goes on to say, and this is Todd Blanche's question, when's the last time you think you saw, in person President Trump? And she goes on to say, it's been a long time, probably not sometime in the beginning, mid 2000s maybe, and it would only have been a social setting as far as I recall. Todd Blanche then asked, and did you ever hear Mr. Epstein or anybody say that the President Trump had done anything inappropriate with masseuses or with anybody in your world? Absolutely never, in any context. Do you know whether masseuses from Mar-a-Lago SWA ended up giving massages to private massages to Mr. Epstein? I'm not asking for what you may have read, but from at that time, from your personal knowledge, do you know whether that's true? I don't recall it. And there's your biggest lie right there. What do you mean you don't recall? You recruited Virginia Giuffre from Mar-a-Lago. You were the one that actually called them to his Palm Beach mansion and, recruited over 1,000 victims to give him a massage. And there's a clear lie. How are you going to believe this deposition? How are you going to believe what she's saying here? I don't remember that. So I don't recall, but it's not possible. But it's possible. Like, really, come on. Do you have recollection of you ever recruiting a masseuse from Mar-a-Lago spot to give a private massage to Mr. Epstein? I've never recruited a masseuse from Mar-a-Lago for that. As far as I remember, I can't ever recollect doing that. And again, that's a bunch of bullshit. We have testimony and depositions from, Virginia Giuffre herself saying that she was recruited by Maxwell. Okay, so again, this is another lie right there. The good thing here is that if you go back and you listen to some of the audio, Todd Blanche does tell her that if you do lie, you can be persecuted for that. And I'm hoping that when the files are released, and that they see that she is lying, that she is prosecuted and returned back to maximum security. Can you just imagine what the victim's supposed to be going through right now? You're a victim that's been, abused, and here you have, Ghislaine Maxwell that's getting the royal treatment. Why? Because Trump is all over the files and he wants to cover his tracks. It's just sad. And so we keep going here. Okay, so what I think we should do now is about 12:15. We'll take a break and we'll come back in a little bit. Okay, and then so we go down here, and I believe that's all there is of Donald Trump herself. So basically, they asked her a few questions about Donald Trump. She said that he's a really good guy. He didn't do anything, and basically she cleared his name. However, you can see that there are, a bunch of lies here already, right? If you read the whole, transcript, you'll see for yourself that she's lied a bunch of times. One of the biggest lies we just talked about was the Ghislaine Maxwell, the Virginia Giuffre lie, right? She clearly said that, oh no, I didn't recruit when she was recruiting. Everybody knows that. There's evidence, there's depositions, and I should say, God, I hope Virginia Giuffre, is okay, in the afterlife, and, rest in peace. She's been through a lot. She did recently take her life, and, this is a result of, not getting any justice. So let's take a look quickly here at X, and we'll see what's going on here. And you'll see, so Brian Cranstein here says DOJ releases Maxwell's transcript during Todd Blanche interview this month. Highlights she doesn't think Epstein killed himself. She doesn't believe Clinton ever got a massage from a young girl. She never saw Trump do anything with girls. She really likes Trump. Remember that the Trump DOJ moved her to a nice luxury prison following the interview, and Maxwell is a known liar. Okay, so we all know that, and I'll play this video for you. It's a very short video, so let's take a look.
The plane, they went on the plane 26 times or whatever. That would be one journey.
So I'll start this over again for you.
Todd Blanche asking Ghislaine Maxwell, do you know whether, for example, President Clinton ever received a massage? Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't believe he did. Todd Blanche, and what makes you say you don't believe he did? Ghislaine, well, because I don't, so that's a good question. The time that Epstein and President Clinton spent together, the only times I believe, well, obviously, they traveled. There was that, the plane. They went on the plane 26 times or whatever. That would be one journey. So they spent time on the plane together.
And so you can see basically that, she's claiming that they did travel on the plane, but Clinton didn't get any massages. And as you know, that Clinton has been subpoenaed, right, to appear in front of Congress, the Oversight Committee, and they will have to basically, he will have to testify. And if you are interested in reading the full transcript and looking at the video, here it is, the Justice Department. You can just go to X or just go to the website, and I'll bring up the website for you one more time so you can take a look. And there it is. And you'll be able to kind of read through it. It is quite long, like I said. And let me go back here so you can take a look. And there it is. There's your website, justice.gov. It's got the entire interview there. Redacted. Like I said, some of the stuff is redacted, and there's your audios. Okay. Again, I would take this interview with a grain of salt. Ghislaine Maxwell is a known liar. She has been also charged with perjury, and this is, what caught me off guard here was she lied right off the back by saying that she didn't recruit anybody from Mar-a-Lago, when it was clear, Trump himself once said on the plane that Epstein did steal a bunch of employees from him, and that is just a brutal way of putting it. I just don't understand that these guys have no concern for the victims, right? Imagine being a victim of Ghislaine Maxwell or, Epstein, and having to hear this, that, we're simply just, we were stolen. They're real human beings who've gone through tragedy, who've been abused at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell. And again, go back and read the deposition by Virginia Giuffre, and you'll see for yourself that, she clearly points out and clearly names Ghislaine Maxwell as somebody that recruited her from Mar-a-Lago. And they say, she also goes on to say, and a lot of her victims go on to say that she was worse than Jeffrey Epstein. Again, this is just basically an overview. I just wanted to share with you. Feel free to, like I said, go onto the website and read it. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about this entire situation. Is it a cover-up? Do you think Donald Trump is innocent? Do you think that his name is on the list? I'd love to hear from you. Once again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much.